Dear children, good morning. Today, in our first session, we are going to do a new lesson, Tea from Assam, the third lesson from Glimpses of India. The writer of the piece is Arup Kumar Datta, who is a well known Assamese writer writing in English. I hope you all have read the popular book The Kaziranga Trail. This is one book for children by him among others. This book is perhaps available in the school library also. The subject matter of this chapter, you might have already guessed correctly, is Assam tea. Tea is one of the most popular beverages of the world. The best quality tea in India is mainly produced in Assam. Assam tea has also been in the news recently because it is supposed to have medicinal properties that can help a lot in combating the coronavirus. I suppose almost all of you have your cup of red hot tea in the morning. Now, Assam produces about 55% of India's total tea production. Today, there are around 100 tea estates in Assam. It was Robert Bruce, a Scottish adventurer, who discovered the tea plant in Assam in 1823. The discovery helped the East India Company to develop a trade in tea, which till then was China's monopoly. The first Indian to start tea planting was an Assamese, Maniram Dewan, a nobleman. The given lesson revolves mainly around two school-going youngsters, Pranjal and Rajveer. Pranjal is from Assam and he is Rajveer's classmate in a school in Delhi. Pranjal is the son of a tea garden manager in Upper Assam. Rajveer has been invited by Pranjal to visit his home in Assam during the summer vacation. The lesson has a lot of conversation between the two friends revolving around tea. The lesson ends with a short conversation between Rajveer and Pranjal's tea garden manager father. In between the conversations, there are beautiful descriptions of tea gardens. Let us start the chapter. You can look at the lines in the book as I read. Chai garam, garam chai, a vendor called out in a high-pitched voice. He came up to their window and called and asked, "Chai, Saab?" "Give us 2 cups," Pranjal said. They sipped the steaming hot liquid. Almost everyone in the compartment was drinking tea too. "Do you know that over 80 crore cups of tea are drunk every day throughout the world? Rajveer said. Whew, exclaimed Pranjal. Tea really is very popular. The beginning situation that we are presented with is almost common in all over India, in places where crowds of people gather. We all have come across such a situation. A tea vendor or seller selling tea by advertising his commodity at top volume. Sometimes they even bring along a homemade oven with burning red hot charcoals in it to keep the tea steaming hot. So, it is a railway platform with a tea vendor calling out chai garam, garam chai in a loud voice. The vendor comes up to the window of the train compartment where the two boys were sitting and asked if they would have tea. Pranjal ordered 2 cups, one for himself and another for Rajveer. Both the youngsters sipped or took small mouthfuls of the steaming hot tea. We can see that almost everyone in the compartment was having tea. The entire situation lets us know that tea as a beverage is indeed popular among the public. And as if to confirm our impression about the popularity of tea, Rajveer gives Pranjal an interesting piece of information by asking him if he knew that more than 80 crore cups of tea are drunk every day throughout the world. Pranjal exclaims in wonder that tea was indeed very popular. Let us go back to the lesson and read further. The train pulled out of the station. Pranjal buried his nose in his detective book again. Rajveer, too, was an ardent fan of detective stories, but at the moment he was keener on looking at the beautiful scenery. It was green, green everywhere. Rajveer had never seen so much greenery before. Then the soft green paddy fields gave way to tea bushes. It was a magnificent view. Against the backdrop of densely wooded hills, a sea of tea bushes stretched as far as the eye could see. Dwarfing the tiny tea plants were tall, sturdy shade trees, and amidst the orderly rows of bushes busily moved doll-like figures. In the distance was an ugly building with smoke billowing out of tall chimneys. Hey, a tea garden! Rajveer cried excitedly. The train in which the two youngsters were traveling pulled out of or departed from the station. Pranjal buried his nose or was deeply immersed in reading his detective book or a book concerning crime and its investigation. Rajveer, too, liked reading detective stories, but at that moment he was enthusiastic about something else. The beautiful scenery outside was what he was keenly or eagerly looking at. The scene was exactly the opposite of Delhi, where one only had a concrete jungle of buildings and tall skyscrapers to look at. In Assam, the scene was green with vegetation everywhere. Rajveer, a Delhi resident, had never seen so much greenery before. He was very excited about a completely new situation. First, the soft green paddy fields, and then followed the tea bushes. From a distance, it looks like a thick green carpet spread out on all sides, doesn't it? Even we, the local residents who are familiar with such a situation, get filled with joy in such a situation. Think of the joy Rajveer might have been experiencing, a person who lived in the middle of a concrete jungle. It was a magnificent or splendid or marvelous view in front of Rajveer. Against the backdrop or background of densely wooded hills, a sea of tea bushes stretched or spread out as far as one could see. It was almost a panoramic view. A panoramic view is an unobstructed and wide view of an extensive area in all directions. There were tall, sturdy shade trees in the middle of the tea bushes. These tall and strongly built shade trees, dwarfed or made to look small the tiny tea plants. In the middle of the orderly or methodically arranged rows of tea bushes, doll-like figures moved busily. These doll-like figures were the tea pluckers, generally women. The tea pluckers pluck the newly sprouted or newly appeared tea leaves from the tea bushes. The shade trees are planted to provide shade to the tea bushes for optimum production. In the distance, or a little far away, could be seen an ugly or unattractive building. Might be the building, which is a tea factory, was looking ugly because of the deposition of soot or the black powdery deposit from smoke. And from the tea factory, smoke was billowing out of tall chimneys. Billowing out means flowing outward with a wave-like motion. Perhaps Rajveer was seeing a tea garden for the first time in his life, or he was not commonly used to seeing a tea garden, being a resident of Delhi, where there are no such gardens. He cried out excitedly that it was a tea garden on seeing one. Let us now read the lesson further. Pranjal, who had been born and brought up on a plantation, didn't share Rajveer's excitement. "Oh, this is tea country now," he said. "Assam has the largest concentration of plantations in the world. You will see enough gardens to last you a lifetime." "I have been reading as much as I could about tea," Rajveer said. "No one really knows who discovered tea, but there are many legends." We have seen that Rajveer behaved excitedly on seeing a tea garden. But Pranjal had been born and brought up on a plantation, therefore he wasn't excited like Rajveer about a tea garden. It was an unusual situation for Pranjal. In a casual way, Pranjal remarked that Assam is tea country, meaning that Assam is home to tea. He also remarked that Assam has the largest number of tea plantations in the world. He tells Rajveer that there are so many tea gardens that he will have to spend an entire lifetime seeing all of them. Rajveer then replies that he has been reading as much as he could about tea. This tells us about his deep interest in tea and perhaps also about his nature to inform himself fully about a place before visiting it. Rajveer then says that it is not known who discovered tea, but that there were many legends or traditional stories about the discovery of tea. Rajveer had actually done some research. This much for this session, students. Have a good day.